It's just a little bit loose on me, and obviously due to where it's kind of like, you know, became less poofy. To me, the whole reason for buying designer or luxury is because it's going to uphold over time, you know. And I'm not saying that because I want to flex. I'm saying it because I've had this Tom Brown cardigan for 4 or 5 years. It's 100% cashmere, and it keeps me warm, literally. You know, it holds up. The buttons aren't falling off. Even if it does, like, it's, you know, an easy repair. Like, it's just all about, like, I feel like the details and obviously fabrication that people with money, that's why they buy luxurious items, you know. And 9 times out of 10, if you have kids or nieces and nephews, like, these are pieces that you can pass down to them. You can't really pass off no Zara, no H&M, no Uniqlo, no none of that. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is your girl Sierra. Hey, yeah. And today I am going to be doing the first episode of a new little segment that I want to include on my channel. But of course, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. But basically, every couple of months I have been doing like these review style videos, and I've noticed that those are like my highest watched videos. So I'm like, let me, you know, keep those coming for you guys, because one thing that I aim to do, especially in 2025, is to more so make the content that y'all want to see and stop letting my ADHD control me, because I just be like, okay, I know y'all liking this, but I'm bored of this now. Like, gotta keep going, you know, try something new. So with that being said, every Thursday I want to come on here and I want to review an item that I have had for a couple of months or a couple years. And today I'm going to be doing a review on my Rick Owens puffer, okay? This coat on February 1st, 2021. So 22, 23, 24, 25. 4 winters, okay, I have had this puffer. I paid $1,200 for it. I remember it was like on sale. I think the original price was like $2 or maybe even $3 something. And it is originally from Rick Owens Fall Winter 2020 collection. Always he has the name of the collection as well as the year that the collection was made on the inside bars when it comes down to any Rick Owens garment. And I remember I was purchasing it because I wanted a coat that was, yes, stylish and like cool looking, but also a puffer that I knew that was going to be warm. This puffer, and I'm not going to go too much in detail because I do have a whole video which I will link down below in the description box, where I reviewed this coat entirely because I had first got it. So I'll tell you a little bit about the collection and the contents and everything like that. But yeah, so as far as the care tag for Rick Owens coats, just so you know, it's typically in the pocket, on the inside pocket, if you don't see it, like, you know, where care tags usually are. But yeah, so my care tag is on the inside of the pocket. The composition is 90% goose down and then 10% feathers. And the feathers is what makes this coat semi-water resistant. The feathers like stick up, so that kind of helps it resist water. The composition in its total is like a polyamide or nylon. So I guess that's what's covering, you know, the down. I know from experience, if you guys don't know, if you're new to my channel, my whole background is like luxury retail. And I am one that I'm passionate about it, to be quite honest. And I used to feel foolish for saying that because it's retail, and I feel like retail is sometimes like a stepping stone for people to get their real job or things like that. But for a person like me who has always been interested in fashion, it's definitely been something that, yes, I've made, you know, pretty good money off of, but it's something that I'm like serious about. It's like servicing my clients or customers and making sure that I know all the facts behind why they're paying, you know, $1,000 or more for a particular item. And with that being said, when I worked at Burberry specifically, I was selling a lot of puffer coats, a lot of wool coats. So knowing the fabric makeup definitely, you know, made my sales come through. So this lady, for instance, she lived in Canada, and she was like, yo, I need a warm coat. Like, yes, I love the silhouette of it and everything, but is it a goose down? So doing the research back then, I found that goose down and feathers like 90% goose down, 10% feather, 80% goose down, 10% feathers. That fabric makeup is what you want to look for when you are buying a puffer. Actually, now that I'm talking about it, I actually have a video that I'll also link down below where I talk about things to look for when you are buying a coat, a winter coat. And that's also something to note in case you are new to my channel, is I don't buy things just for the flex of it. Yes, I love designer, and the main reason why I love designer is because I feel like you get the most bang for your buck. Again, this is like a reoccurring video style that I do, which is reviewing items that I've had for years, and all of those items are designer pieces, you know, because they're made a little bit better, obviously, than an H&M or Zara, ethically and, you know, physically. So I have been wearing this coat religiously, I want to say, for the past 4 years, and that's because it is my warmest coat. Now, I will say one thing about it, some cons, I guess you can say, is I got this coat in a size 40, Italian 40, which typically I am an Italian 38. But I was like, oh, layering underneath. Now, one thing that I know about Rick Owens clothes is I have several of his pieces, several of his shoes, is typically true to size, okay? I think that he makes pieces for long-limbed people, and it's like if you got to alter, you got to alter it, but for the most part, his arms and things are always long, and I think that that's the main thing I was thinking about, was like the arm. Like, I knew the body would be good because it's like a puffer, but I'm like, I don't want the arms to be short. I don't know why I was thinking like that, because the arms are never short on any Italian 38 that I purchased from Rick Owens. Now, with that being said, I do feel like it's just a little bit loose on me, and obviously due to where it's kind of like, you know, became less poofy, especially in the back. Like, the back used to be like a little shell in the back. But obviously I wear my things, you know, and I live in the city. I'm on and off trains. Also, this is the coat that I wear when I'm traveling in the wintertime. So going home to Chicago, I'm like sitting on my back. You know, I wore it to Paris, I wore it back. I remember with a whole bunch of other coats layered on top and layered underneath this puffer. I didn't have enough space in my luggage, so I wore all these coats on the plane. But with that being said, I have done things to where the back was going to just definitely get flattened over time, because I'm not one to be like, oh, I need to sit upright in my things because it's designer. Like, to me, the whole reason for buying designer or luxury is because it's going to uphold over time, you know. And I'm not saying that because I want to flex. I'm saying it because I've had this Tom Brown cardigan for 4 or 5 years. It's 100% cashmere, and it keeps me warm, literally. You know, it holds up. The buttons aren't falling off. Even if it does, like, it's, you know, an easy repair. Like, it's just all about, like, I feel like the details and obviously fabrication that people with money, that's why they buy luxurious items, you know. And 9 times out of 10, if you have kids or nieces and nephews, like, these are pieces that you can pass down to them. You can't really pass off no Zara, no H&M, no Uniqlo, no none of that. That's another reason why I'm so big on thrift if you need to, or just invest in something that is well made, made in Italy. And I know a lot of people argue, like, just because it has that made in Italy tag doesn't always mean that all of the contents are made in Italy. But I would just say, quality, you can't, it's hard to disguise quality, you know. Even if you need to train your eye, go to a Max Mara, go to a Tom Brown, you know, brick and mortar, to Rick Owens, you know, a brick and mortar, and just, you know, feel their fabrics, try on their clothes. You may annoy the sales people, but so what? You know, it don't cost nothing to try on. Or even if you live in New York, like, DM me, like, Sierra, I just want to try on a couple pieces, just so you can kind of train your mind and your eye to look for what to look for when it comes to buying a well-made piece, or a piece that's going to hold up. I don't know how I got on that topic, but back to the puffer. Those are two of, like, the only cons I want to say, is the fact that it's gotten a little bit flatter on the back, and also yeah, I got it a size too big, in my opinion. But I will say the goose down, you definitely feel it. Like, I've been caught in like a snowstorm in this freaking coat, and I have yet to feel any type of wetness on my body. Like, it definitely somewhat repels or resists water and snow. It's the same thing, Sierra, water and snow. I say all that to say, like, I remember having a Zara puffer, for instance, years and years ago. And it was so cute and all that, but it was like a polyfill. And 1, it didn't keep me warm, and 2, water would get on the inside, you know, my clothes would be wet, which is insane. So that is definitely a standout, I will say, for this Rick Owens puffer. After having it for 4+ years, it's held up. pretty well for me. And also I feel like too, the pockets, it's held daintily with like a little button. It looks like it's dainty anyway. But one thing I can say is I am not soft on my things by any means. And the fact that this, you know, snaps and I can just like pull it, literally pull it open with all my might, you know, and it's held up. I'm not gonna say like I'm doing the most in this coat, but definitely I'm not thinking like, oh, I need to be, you know, careful of ripping my coat or something. And that's another thing too. This coat is damn near rip stop. Like I have cut a couple corners. I done ran into a couple like sharp items in this coat and I'm thinking like, oh my God, it ripped. And I look and it's fine, you know? So that's another thing I will say about this coat. Also, I find that I have loved the little bar or like band that is typically on the back of all of Rick Owens coats. He does like this. It's like his signature. And I will say it's also a functional piece as well. Like whenever I can't find my thick hanger, I will just hang it on like a rack by this. If you're like shopping, you can like take it off and like wear it as like a little, you know, bag. And I love that as well. But one thing I will say about a puffer coat, if you don't have a Rick Owens coat that has this little bar at the back, or I know the Canada Goose too, they have it where you can take it off and wear it as like a backpack. They have like two little straps on the inside of it, which I love for from a functional stance. But when it comes to a puffer coat, you definitely want to make sure you are putting it on a thick hanger. Because one thing that will happen is it will start to get like those little points if you keep putting it on like a little thin hanger. It literally makes me cringe when I see people put like puffers or like nice quality knits on like thin hangers, because literally it just get those little points. Which one can imagine, right? You can imagine if you're putting something on like for instance, like I have this little blazer here, which is on a thick hanger. But if you constantly putting it on a thin hanger like this, look at that. It's literally, and just imagine it just sitting on this hanger for like weeks or months. I don't know how often you wear your clothes. But anyway, it just creates this point. And I just like, I hate that. So I am really big on thick hangers. I literally still have my Rick Owens hanger from when I got this coat. Which is another thing. When you buy from luxurious brands or brands that just keep quality at the forefront, I feel like they think everything through. Like this is the hanger that it came with. So very thick, you know, it's not gonna get any like points in it. It keeps its shape around the shoulders when you put it on a thick hanger like this. So definitely will say that has helped with the life of this jacket as well. One thing that I have loved about this jacket is the fact that it twists around the neck, okay? Twists around the neck and then buttons on the side. I feel like I don't have to wear a scarf when I wear this coat because it just covers my mouth and everything. Now with that being said, I noticed especially when filming the B-roll, it's like, oh my gosh, all of my makeup is like on the inside of this coat. So I should probably get it cleaned or clean it myself. Also, another thing that I love about this coat is for the most part, I don't have to wear a bag if I don't want to anyway. As I said, it has pack pockets on the inside, and the pockets on the inside of this coat are pretty deep. I can fit like a hand lotion, you know, my cards, cash, lip gloss, keys, all of that can go in those deep pockets on the inside. And then obviously you have the two pockets on the outside, which as you guys can see with me constantly putting my hands in and out of it, I have seen that the pocket kind of has dropped a little bit, but still, because I feel like this coat was just made with quality materials, made intentionally, like even with it aging and it become a little bit droopy or a little bit flatter at the back, it's still a good freaking look. I still get compliments on this coat to this day. And I'm like, man, I done had this coat like 4 years. Like, thank you. But the look is still looking. I guess another con I will say about this coat is the fact that it's a little bit shorter at the back. And I want to say I talked about this when I first got the puffer, but if I'm wearing something cropped, like, yeah, I definitely want to feel air going all up my little back. But I will say for the most part, I'm typically wearing this coat with like sweaters or like a hoodie or something like that that will cover my back. Sometimes, like if I'm going out and I'm trying to be cute, I'm like, wait, where's this breeze coming from? And the whole time it's coming up my little back. So I will say I definitely intend on buying another Rick Owens puffer in the future. And that's really only because I want one a little bit longer. And also I just kind of want to not retire this one, but just save it for, maybe not wear it for one winter, this winter coming up, you know, get another puffer, wear that one down, and then switch back to it in the next winter, or just switch between the two. Because that's another thing when it comes to having like a quality coat or a quality sweater. Like, I think that you want 2 quality puffers. You know, you maybe want 2 wool coats that you can just switch in between, because you don't want to just wear it down. I done said this a zillion times on my channel before, but with my training through, you know, retail and having, you know, brand ambassadors, or sometimes the creative director for a lot of brands that I've worked for tell me like, yo, this is how you care for this item. Like, this is something that you should tell customers. Like, yes, this wool sweater is made with the best wool, the best Italian cashmere or wool, but it's good to have at least 2 or 3 that you can switch in between. The zipper, which I feel like the zipper on some coats sometimes will like give out over time. I have noticed that with some Moncler coats, and I can't even say that. The people who I have seen have problems with their zippers when it comes to Moncler, they've had the Moncler for like 10, 15 years. And they're like, oh yeah, the zipper is kind of like wonky. Or maybe like, you know, this little piece for the zipper has fallen off and they have to kind of make it a makeshift little tab. But I will say with this puffer, the zipper is super, super sturdy. I think Rick, I want to say he makes his own zippers, or maybe at one point used YKK, but regardless, the zipper is definitely of quality. Never snags, always zips up, zips down. Also, what I still love about it, obviously, is like the little cuffs at the end of this coat. I find it super functional. If I'm not wearing gloves, I can easily just pull it down and cover my little hands. And then when it comes to like styling this coat, as you guys can see, it has the asymmetrical zipper. So on its own, it's a look. You know, put on a pair of jeans and a nice little boot, and let's say, for instance, you're in a museum, I don't know, someplace where you don't necessarily need to take off your coat, like, you're giving looks. But I would say this coat is definitely versatile with basically everything that I own. I've worn it with dresses, I've worn it with skirts, I've worn it with trousers, of course, jeans, sneakers, my Margiela tabbies. And I find that for the most part, it always freaking works. And that was also another thing that I was looking for in like a puffer coat, is one that would just uphold over time, of course, but also not be too trendy and would work with majority of my items. Now, I will say with the asymmetrical zipper, that's sometimes too much for some people. Some people may find that a little bit too like edgy, so to speak. But as I told you guys, I do not buy things for the flex, but Rick Owens, Margiela, Dries Van Noten, those are, I feel like, my big 3 when it comes down to designers or brands that I really love and appreciate. Tom Brown. And it's mainly due, number one, is due to their quality and just the fact that their pieces just hold up over time. But I will say, I say all that to say, when it comes down to this Rick Owens puffer, it is classic Rick Owens. Like, which I think that at this point, I don't know how many years Rick has been around, since like the 90s, I believe. So like over probably like 25 years. Yeah, I'll probably insert how many years Rick Owens has been around. But anyway, I say all that to say, like, he has definitely stuck to a avant-garde aesthetic through and through since the man has been designing, creating clothes. So in terms of like an avant-garde space or the Rick Owens realm, this is definitely a statement classic puffer. I will say, if you are looking for a puffer coat, I would wholeheartedly recommend a mid-length coat, or maybe even a little bit longer. As I told you guys, I work in retail, and fortunately I work at a place where we sell like luxury puffers, Monclers, Bocage, all those types of things. Not Rick Owens puffers yet anyway, but I was telling people like, yeah, don't buy a long coat. Like, it's gonna be a light winter, because for the past, I want to say 5 years I've lived in New York, the winters have kind of been mild. You know, I think with the exception of like 1 or 2 days being super, super cold, but for the most part warm. Like, I wore this coat, and even with the little breeze going up my back, you know, last winter and the winter before that, it was cool. But this winter here, I was like, hold on. I was longing for a little bit more coverage when it comes down to my back area. Although, like I said, for the most part, this puffer does what it needs to do, especially if you're wearing like a cashmere underneath, you know. But I would say, yes, I would recommend this puffer if you live in a place where your winters maybe aren't so brutal. But if you live in a place like New York, Canada, Chicago, I would definitely say if you're looking at a Rick Owens puffer, go for a mid-length puffer, okay? Just to cover all bases. You know you're gonna be warm. But yeah, I would definitely say that this puffer is one that can't just be in a style category. Like, this coat is stylish, it's functional, it's warm, which is under functional. And also I love the color of it. It's in like this chocolatey, you know, color. And, you know, I feel like when it comes down to color, to each his own, but obviously, you know, a neutral is going to be a little bit more versatile than maybe getting a yellow ombre or like pink ombre, but to each his own. Like, I know this one guy who works at Rick Owens, I know of him anyway, and he wears like all Rick in color, and I love it, but that fits his personality. But definitely if you're more of a pragmatic person, or if it's just like your first ever puffer, obviously I would definitely recommend going with a more neutral, you know, colorway. It definitely brings me great joy to say, after having this coat for 4 years and 2 weeks, I still love it. You know, I would still recommend it, you know, to anyone that is looking for a puffer, especially if you're a person that doesn't like logos. Again, when it comes down to Rick Owens, if you know, you know, but for the most part, all of his coats has like this bar at the back, which I feel like people know, again, as an identifier for Rick Owens puffer. But I say that to say, like, it's no legit Rick Owens, you know, logo on it. It's very subtly, like it says, I think Rick Owens, like on, you know, the buttons, like it says Rick Owens like on that button, but that's the only little logo that you see. So I would definitely say, if you're looking for a logo-less puffer, then I would also look to Rick Owens. But if you're looking for a puffer that's just warm, just in general, that will hold up for 10 plus years, then I would have to say Moncler as well. Which, please follow me on Instagram, because I'm going to be linking some styles maybe on my Instagram as well, of some like practical pieces. I've been thinking about this type of content in my head, because I have it where I can link things from my job for you guys to like buy directly, and transparently I get a little. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Would I recommend this puffer? I think I already said it, but yes, 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 absolutely yes. If you guys have any more comments or questions, please leave them down in the comment section. I will be sure to answer them there in case I didn't cover something. But yes, you guys, 10 out of 10 would recommend, and I will see you guys in my next one. Peace. Also, let me know what y'all think about this segment. Please, please, please let me know. Peace.